In the big Grand Prix race, the second of the weekend, the first today, one of three this weekend, all lining up. Cliff Smith's Bondwell is the start boat on the right-hand side of your picture there, the red one with the flag. When the flag drops, they're away. But they must be in a line, and they mustn't be ahead of the start boat. Running up this time, they'll get a start. Peter Knight out wide. Watch for him to get the jump. The flag is still up, so they're not away yet. A couple ahead there. Notice two boats just ahead of the start boat. Will he drop it this time down?
They're racing.
They've let him go. And Movement went inside that first buoy. We'll have to wait and see if that costs him anything. But Peter Knight very, very quickly stands on the gas against 1,200 horsepower, wound right up in a straight line.
Keith McGregor's in the most undesirable position on the outside there. He's had to fight all that water all the way. You'll notice he'll come inside now and make a run up close to the second buoy there.
Brad Carberry going pretty well up there, right up the inside in third place. But he got squeezed just a little. The wake upset the attitude of the boat a little.
And the one that's really given them a shake-up is Gary Wallace in Autocrat, the injected Chevy. He's right up there inside the boss.
So there is Peter Knight, the man who will lose something on the corners in comparison to the flat bottoms. Big hydroplane having to go a little wide on the corners, but he makes it up in a straight line. Yesterday he was doing 140 miles an hour in the straights. There, look at Autocrat go now.
That's really going to be a shake-up.
Wow, that was an amazing exit from the corner for Gary Wallace. He got out of it beautifully. When it gets to a straight line, you can't beat the boss and Peter Knight. There is no way they're going to get close to it in a straight line. They've got to make up on the corners. Now, Peter Knight has really got that first turn.
Look at Autocrat go.
Peter Knight has got that first turn sussed a lot better than yesterday. He's literally sliding it through these corners. The circuit's been widened just a little, but Gary Wallace giving him a real run for his money. Have a look as they approach this buoy. Gary Wallace will turn in much tighter. He'll peel off for that buoy long before Peter Knight can. Peter Knight's got to go up wide on the outer side. And where Keith McGregor has gone is anybody's guess at this moment. He's well down. Gary Wallace really giving Peter Knight a run for his money. Look at how wide Peter Knight comes off those corners. And then winding it up in a straight line. 130, 135, 140 miles an hour.
I don't know, Tony. I watched these things bounce around. Talking to Peter last night, he said, these things, they're very predictable. They look like they're 190% out of control for 180% of the time as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, I just can't believe how close Gary Wallace is staying to him. Look how much he makes up in the corners. He lacks straight line speed, but this is a great race from Gary Wallace. The telling factor, of course, on the last lap is that it comes down to a sprint in a straight line, and that's where Peter Knight can do it. Yesterday,
you'll notice Gary now will be keeping out wide. He'll be going as wide as he can to try and push the boss out further from the buoy. And then he'll just nip back in on that buoy.
Just have a look at the top end of the rev range, how much Peter Knight is going quicker than Gary Wallace. This is great racing from Gary Wallace. Have a look at a straight line again. White flag this time.
Coming down for the white flag. One to go.
That's where it will tell. In that straight line sprint. Oh, Peter Knight is really winding this thing up. Gary Wallace staying, just sticking with him, and up the inside. He can get off the gas a lot later.
Now he's pushing him out wide. Look how wide he's had to go here. He's really come loose there. But just the same, the last turn, Gary went underneath him and pushed the boss very, very wide. And once that hydroplane loses boat speed and the boat settles in the water a little bit, it takes an awful lot to get it going again. And that's exactly what Gary's going to have to do in the next turn, because he's got that long straight to stay in front to come down to the checkered flag.
Of course, the man who's special second on points is Keith McGregor, who's out of the race at the moment. So Peter Knight doesn't really need to beat Gary Wallace to take the championship overall. He's got a big lead over Gary Wallace, but he's certainly getting a run for his money. Now comes the sprint down to the line. This time down to the checkered flag. The straight line speed.
Look at Gary going wide. He's getting out there in the way. He's trying to disrupt the water and generally make a nuisance of himself in front of him.
Now comes Peter Knight. He's just done it on the line. Well, we'll wait for official confirmation, but it looked to me like Peter Knight just did it on the line. What a magnificent sprint.
He just can't beat that horsepower. Look at it, poor old Peter. He's absolutely exhausted. So I don't know whether he did that or not.